All right, this is Deanna Murphy, who is instructional coach with Cherokee County Schools, and we're here today to do the interview process. So, Deanna, could you tell us a little bit of how the specialist maintains an integrated curriculum, both horizontally and vertically aligned, and that engages all students in rigorous and relevant academic challenges?
Well, one of the main goals of ours is to support the teacher in the correct instruction in their classroom, the differentiation and following through. So one of the things that we will look at is where the students are by looking at the data with the teacher. And then we go in and we do model lessons, we'll do side by side, then we'll gradually release the teacher. But we look at how their standards build from one grade level to the other. A lot of times we'll work with them to get with the other teacher and maybe plan or go in and visit to see what the instruction looks like on the level below them and the grade level above them to give an idea where the students came from and where they've got to go.
Okay. Could you give me some insight as to how the instructional specialist leads and motivates teachers to adhere to the prescribed state standards?
A lot of that is just when we review the data and looking at where our students are and where they need to be by the end of the year. And one of the things that we're working on right now as a system is getting our teachers to identify the essential standards for every grade level and concentrating on those essential standards. Let that be their priority. And we started that back in the summer where we got all the teachers, like 7th through 12th grade language arts teachers, and they planned together on what they felt the essential standards were and how they built up from 7th to 8th and all the way up through 12th. So we've got that planning going on and that conversation across the grade levels as to what is expected below and what is expected above.
Okay. And how do y'all monitor and assess instructional programs, activities, and materials?
One of the things with programs is we try it out. The instructional coaches will try it out. We'll model it. We'll go in with the teacher. We'll look at it with the teacher. We'll introduce it. We have the conversations with the teachers. Encourage them to try it, like after a model lesson. For example, we've tried this new strategy called breakout boxes or escape rooms. And so we've planned lessons. We've gone in and modeled those lessons for the teacher with a group of students. And then we've sat down with the teacher and we discussed pros, cons, how the students reacted to those lessons, and then encouraged the teachers to do the next one on their own. So we model, we have that follow-up, the feedback, and then we encourage the teachers to do the next lesson of that type with our support.
Oh, okay. Well, okay, so how does the specialist use diagnostic tools to assess, identify, and support instructional improvement?
Well, we have access, the instructional coaches in our system have access to administrative access to the Scantron and to the STAR. So we know what the data says all across the board. And we meet with the teachers and we take the teachers through those reports and we have those conversations as to what the data tells us, where the data is taking us, what it means, what does that mean for Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3. And again, we support them with that. We may go in and plan a lesson that's on a focus standard and show them a different instructional strategy to use because maybe the way they've taught it wasn't effective, and so we provide them a different way to teach those standards.
Okay, so tell me how technology is being used with y'all in y'all's prescribed curriculum.
Okay, our system is pretty much one-to-one from 2nd grade up. Every student has access to a Chromebook. So I know from like 3rd grade up, a lot of their work is done through the Chromebook. We have Google. So a lot of the teachers use Google Classroom. We have teachers using the Nearpod, Edpuzzle, Vocabulary, IXL. Right now we still have Compass, but that's going away for us. And so teachers bring that in, and like with IXL, No Red Ink, which are programs, some teachers are building some of the Tier 2 through that. Because like with IXL, you can take that diagnostic in language and in math, and it sets up that prescribed path. So some of the tier 2 is done through that.
Now, are they using classwork still too for the special ed students?
Some, I think with special ed, and I think we've got one school that has it for certain grade levels
Okay.
in the past.
Are y'all using accelerated math or anything like that with the
Don't have-
STAR program with Renaissance Learning?
We have accelerated reader. We don't have the accelerated math. Like I said, everybody's got access from second grade up, maybe kindergarten now, with the IXL. We're looking at getting the full license for science and social studies now with IXL because they're building that. They've got it through 8th grade now. We're looking at that. But as far as individual schools, like I said, some schools have vocabulary, some don't.
Some don't.
One school just recently purchased Newzella. That's like News ELA because it's hitting a lot of those standards in ELA, and it's being done through technology, so the teachers can assign it and work with it that way. The only drawback that I see with technology, and that I'm afraid of happening, is too much is done on through the technology, and we're getting away in some places, not all, from that direct teacher instruction. So we've got
that
to find
teacher
balance.
intervention where, or even the aid parapro intervention that could be
that
happening.
Human
Right,
conversation.
that human conversation, that human element of it.
Yeah, and technology's good. It has it's got its good points, but we can't go too far in that direction because we still need that explicit instruction.
Yeah. Do you mind sharing what you think are the greatest difficulties of this position?
For me, it's getting that complete teacher buy-in. You know, when you're working with a teacher on instruction and, you know, you discuss with the teacher what's going on, what needs to happen, and you have that co-planning and the model lessons and you go through the coaching cycle, once you leave that teacher or, you know, give that teacher some time, if there's not been a change of heart or a belief change, then that teacher is apt to fall back into their old ways where it's comfortable. And to me, that's the biggest frustration I have, is sometimes that buy-in or that change of heart doesn't really happen as quickly as you want. You've got to stay with them, and that just tells me that maybe we didn't connect or get the point out there enough, so you have to go back and revisit. And then also getting administrative support. You know, you can go in, an instructional coach can go in and work with a teacher and do everything right, so to speak. But if that teacher doesn't feel that the administrator's behind it, then there's not always that change. Or the administrator may really not understand or know what's going on in the classroom because he or she's not been in there. Those are two of the biggest frustrations to me, is not having the administrator who fully knows what's going on in the classroom and completely supports what you're doing, and that change of heart that we want to see with some of our teachers, that change of belief to doing what they need to do in the classroom for the students.
What's one of your greatest accomplishments as the instructional coach?
Is really seeing, going from a classroom where, whether it was tier 1, tier 2, or tier 3, it wasn't strong, and seeing a teacher that realizes, I get it. Now I understand what explicit instruction is, what my tier 2 needs to look like, what my tier 1 needs to look like, and you see that change. Or you're in there working with a teacher with a difficult group of students, and it clicks with the kids. That's when you're like, yeah, that's the good part about this.
That's when you know you're where you're supposed to be.
Right. And it's good because you get to go into different classes and see different things. And we've actually, another thing I like is I go into visit a classroom and the teacher's doing something that's a wonderful idea. It's very effective with the students, and you're like, I'm going to borrow that idea. So you're able to gain something from the teachers, but at the same time it's important to let that teacher know, this is fantastic. May I borrow your idea? I'm going into X classroom,
and I want to share this with them.
I would like to share this strategy with that teacher. And to me, that's exciting. And it lets the teachers know, too, that the instructional specialist is there as support and not just somebody that's there to get you kind of thing. And then, you build that, you let that teacher know, hey, this strategy I borrowed from so-and-so, maybe y'all can plan together, and you build those relationships up across the county, too.
Well, thank you for your time today, and I appreciate you letting me interview you.